Hey, what's up everyone? Nick here. Welcome back to my Resident Evil 4 Professional Difficulty No Damage walkthrough. We are moving on to Chapter 5-2. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to resume action in this little cell or holding area right here where we just reunited with Ashley once again because she seems to have a real talent for getting herself kidnapped. But have her wait in the back of the room and then just kind of poke your head around the corner here. You'll notice how I'll have the rifle equipped because there's going to be an enemy with a crossbow. So check out what I do here. I shoot him. Now I'm gonna peek out a little more, shoot the big guy. Now, if you're quick enough, you can also shoot the little guy, but I was not quick enough in that case, so I'm just gonna finish the job right here. And then you have a choice. One thing you can do is you can run back into the holding cell and kind of let the enemies all group together by the door, and then maybe just throw an incendiary grenade or something like that. But you can see that because I was able, the biggest thing there is the crossbow enemy and the big guy, because those are the two guys that have an easier time of causing you damage. So if you can just get those two guys out of the way right away, then the whole rest of the fight is pretty simple. And then one of these enemies is always going to finish with a parasite, so you're going to want to make sure you get rid of that. And so yeah, we are moving on to Chapter 5-2, and this is a pretty interesting level because, and bear with me, because this is going to sound like an odd statement to make, but this level in particular is one that, unlike a lot of other levels in the game, can actually really benefit from having a solid strategy. And you know, that on the surface that might seem like a weird thing to say, like, well, hold on, shouldn't any level be better with a solid strategy? And certainly that's the case. Yes, I would agree with that. But I think a good example is, like, look way back in the beginning of the game, Chapter 1-2, when we came to the Valley of Death or whatever it's called. And you know, I showed you how I just ran through that section. Now, real quick, right here, as soon as you burst through the door, you're going to just kind of take a couple steps back into this corner, and Ashley will duck down, and while she's ducking down, you're going to kill these two enemies here. This part is very difficult because there's an enemy that you can't see currently, but he's a crossbow enemy, so that's why I'm standing as far as I can tucked into this corner here, because he will shoot you if you're standing anywhere else. And now I'm just going to mop up by killing these parasites, and I think this guy here is also going to burst a parasite. So in hindsight, what I should have done is killed both of those enemies and then used a flashbang to kill both parasites in one blow. But the most important thing here is to just stand in the corner, kill these two guys first, and then and only then pop out to kill the guy with the crossbow, because otherwise the guy with the crossbow will certainly cause you damage. And again, just notice where I'm standing. I'm tucked into this corner here as far as I can be, because pretty much anywhere else, if I was standing where Ashley is standing, he would have been able to shoot me with the crossbow. Now right here, once you take a couple steps forward, I'm going to take out the TMP, knock down the guy with the crossbow, and then just go ahead and take care of his buddy. Looks like there's another parasite to worry about, of course. So I'll go ahead and take out a heavy hitter, get rid of that parasite as quickly as I can. And right here, you'll notice how I have both enemies kind of on top of each other, so that's always a good case to use an incendiary grenade. Now that should kill the crossbow guy, but I don't think it's going to kill the parasite. For some reason, you would think that incendiary grenades would be good against parasites, since they're just kind of this like raw biological entity, but or at least I would think that. But no, for some reason the incendiaries don't really do much against the parasites. It's either frag grenades, flash grenades, or rifle. I would say are your best bet against a parasite. But of course, this far into the game, you already know that. Now, as soon as you hit the switch, you're gonna kill those or shoot those two guys down with the shotgun, and then run over here to the side of the guy with the crossbow and knock him down. Your main goal there is to knock down the guy with the crossbow. Now you'll see here one of these guys is going to pick up Ashley. Again, like always, that's not really a big deal. In fact, it's kind of favorable because you can see here there's three enemies. You know, there's three enemies in the area. If an enemy is taking the time to pick up Ashley, that means I only have to deal with two enemies. And of course, as long as you shoot him quickly enough, he won't be able to get away with Ashley, and you'll be fine. So sometimes you can even use that to your advantage. Use the fact that the enemies want to take away Ashley, and use it to kind of divert one of the enemies away from you. Now you're going to make your way back to the trash room for a very brief cutscene.
Looks like this is it.
Ugh, it stinks.
Sure does.
No way, Leon.
Way?
Are you out of your mind?
I knew you'd be fine if you landed on your butt.
You... What is this?
Come on, let's go.
Okay, so that's one of my favorite lines from Leon. That's a good cutscene. But, so now we're going to have to deal with another regenerator. And like I said way back in, or not way back in chapter 5.1, most of the regenerators, we're just going to run away from them. So what you're going to do is open the gate and then close the gate behind you. Do the same exact thing here, close the gate. And then the regenerators, they move very slowly. So that's why we're able to do this. Basically, you're gonna there's actually 2 regenerators in this room, and we're just gonna run through the entire room without firing a single shot. That way we can conserve rifle ammunition. So here you see is the second regenerator. We're gonna lure him over here. Now if you really needed to, you could lure one next to an explosive barrel just to kind of slow him down, but it's it's absolutely not necessary. So again, just lure him over here. Once he's far enough away from this red container over here, we're going to run over to this location, begin pushing this container, and then leave the room. And that's it. Very, very simple. So just run through this door. You'll get an automatic checkpoint. And notice how I'm actually going to equip the rifle. And that's because as soon as you emerge from this door, you're going to aim your rifle and kill the big guy before he's able to charge you. Now with the big guy down, go ahead and tell Ashley to wait behind you so that she doesn't get caught in any crossfire. There's going to be 2 standard enemies right here, so make sure you take them out. Okay, and once these 2 guys are dead, we're going to continue on into the wrecking ball room. And this is a pretty challenging room. And what will happen is if you happen to die in the wrecking ball room, you'll respawn at the beginning of this room here, and you'll have to kill those 3 guys over and over and over again. So to just kind of save yourself a little hassle, what you're going to do is spam the checkpoint system. So go through this door, turn around, go back through the door, and voila, you'll get yourself an automatic checkpoint. That way, if you happen to die in the wrecking ball room, you won't have to keep killing those 3 initial enemies over and over again. You'll just have to, you'll start from this location here, and you can run straight into the wrecking ball room and get the job done. Now check this out. This is a really good strategy. So what you're going to do is tell Ashley to wait in this tunnel here. Okay? Now what we're going to do is I'm going to equip an incendiary grenade. Drop down. Now get ready. As soon as these enemies run in here, turn to your left and burn them all. Now, run over here to this exact location, turn around, take out your shotgun, and shoot all of these guys into the lava, or the boiling iron, or whatever it is. Just shoot them in. Now you see one of these guys happen to survive, and of course this is the one guy that spawned a parasite, but that's okay. Alright, so now once that initial wave of enemies is dead, I'm going to take out the TNT and finish off all of these guys. But the most important thing here is notice where I'm standing. So I am standing in front of the control room, and I'm kind of tucked into this little corner in between the handrail and the control room itself. And you'll see that from standing in this exact location, so again, just look at my screen and take note exactly of where I'm standing. And the benefit of standing here is that these enemies, they're going to keep, once you clear out the initial wave, the enemies are going to keep dropping down. There's actually there's a little ledge up and to my left. And the enemies are going to keep dropping down from that ledge. And every time they drop down, because of where I am standing, I am in the perfect position to shoot them with the shotgun, and the blast will send them backwards into the boiling pit. So again, right here, don't do that. That's an example of what not to do. So you see, I tried to save shotgun ammunition, and I said, oh, maybe I could just shoot him in the head and then kick him into the fire. But that did not work. So instead, just like you see me doing here, shotgun to the face, he flies into the fire, instant kill. I seem to be getting a lot of parasites in this room, which is unfortunate. And right there, I missed my rifle shot, which was bad. But those are all just small little errors on my part. Nothing bad with the strategy or anything. So again, just keep standing in this location. Wait for the enemies to drop down, and then shoot them. Of course, I get another parasite, but that's okay. I'm gonna just shoot them into the fire. Now, the other benefit of standing in this location is that this ledge that I mentioned that's up and to my left, when the enemies are up there, sometimes they'll try to throw down little hatchets at you, but because of where we're standing, the hatchets will not be able to hurt you. And so again, there you go, 2 enemies with 1 shot, and you're just going to keep doing that. You're just going to stand here and keep firing until you kill pretty much all of the enemies, because what will happen is if you decide to, so you see right there, the enemy just tried to throw a hatchet at me, but again, because I'm standing in this perfect location, the hatchet will not be able to hit you. Now notice what I do here. I intentionally waited, so whenever an enemy drops down, give it a couple seconds. Make sure that another enemy isn't about to follow him, because if you can shoot 2 enemies into the fire with only 1 shot, that's a really good way to save ammunition. So again, you see I wait, he drops down, give it a couple seconds, here comes his buddy, and then 1 nice clean shot throws them both into the pit. And the one thing you got to look out for here is that once you go into the control room to activate the wrecking ball, more enemies are going to spawn. So that's why you're going to want to just stand here and make sure you kill all of these enemies. That way it kind of lessens your load. This is a room that, so you're basically just going to keep spamming this strategy, and this is a room that you pretty much just can't run through it. I tried numerous approaches. I even tried an approach that used a rocket launcher, and I just could not find an easy way to run through this room. So at the end of the day, this is kind of the strategy that I highly recommend. And that kind of brings me back to the point that I was making at the beginning of this video. I was talking about how this level in particular is a level that you can really benefit from using the correct strategies. And my point with that was, like, if you look way back at the beginning of the game in level 1-2, when we were in the Valley of Death, that was a section where I recommended just running through. That was the strategy of my choosing. Now, had I decided to actually stand my ground and fight, like, for example, if you were playing the game and you said, you know what, I'm not going to listen to Nick, I'm going to do my own thing, and let's say you did your own thing, you fought your way through that entire section, it's not very hard. It's not a hard area to survive that fight. It's just that I recommended a certain strategy over another. You know, a lot of levels in a lot of games, there are numerous strategies you can take. But with this specific chapter, I feel like a lot of these fights, like this one right here, a lot of these fights are going to depend on one and only one strategy, and so that's kind of what I mean by, like, you can really benefit from using the right strategy. Now, anyway, we are now through the room. Notice how I was having Ashley control the wrecking ball instead of myself. That way I could cover her. Now, once you get into this room here, you're going to hear some regenerators, and one of them's going to come through this door here, so get to work killing him. There's going to be 4 parasites, 3 on the front, and of course I missed. Good job, Nick. But there's 3 on the front and then 1 on the back, so make sure you, again, shoot out the leg, quickly pull out that rifle, make sure the thermal scope is equipped, and then there you go, shoot him in the back. Now, I mentioned in the last level that throughout the total game, I think we come across like anywhere between 6 and 10 regenerators. I mean, a perfect example was earlier in this level, I came across 2 of them in the same room, and I just ran past both of them. Now, that's something I talked about in the last level, that most of the regenerators, you can actually just run around them. And again, if my memory serves me correctly, I believe there's only 2 regenerators that I ever actually kill in this game, and that right there was the second one. And if I'm correct, that was also the last one. So the first regenerator, we had to kill him because we actually had to kill him to progress through the story. But that regenerator, technically, no. Technically, you don't have to kill him. It's just I highly recommend it because you can hear there's still another regenerator in the area. And we are going to run around him. So it helps to not have one of them. You know, obviously, it's a lot easier to run away from 2 of them than it would be to run away from one of them. And the reason, again, for that is you're going to see the way I do this is I'm actually going to lure the Regenerator into this room and then run around these tables to get away from him. And you can imagine that if I were running away from 2 Regenerators, there's a very good possibility that they could kind of sandwich me in and corner me. So, again, I'm just going to kind of lure him over here, maybe shoot out a leg just so he's a little slower to get up. And now that the Regenerator is out of the way, we're just going to go through this door, run down this hallway, and you'll see in a second why I decided to shoot the leg out from under him. It's because this part here does take a couple seconds. Ashley's going to crawl under the door. She's going to open it. It doesn't take very long, but it's still enough time to where you don't want to be sitting there waiting for the Regenerator to catch up to you. So, but anyway, you can go through this door here. Notice again how it was a green letter door, so that means we've just earned ourselves a checkpoint. And there's going to be a merchant in this room, so you might want to take this opportunity. You can see that I've accumulated 2 complete herb mixtures, so I'm going to sell both of those for 20,000. In terms of strategies for the next fight, some of the things you might want to look into upgrading right now are the amount of ammunition you can hold in the TMP and the power of the shotgun. So those are 2 things that are going to come in handy for the next fight. So again, you see I'm going to upgrade the firepower and the reload speed of the shotgun. Now I'm going to go to the TMP and I'm going to I'm going to upgrade the reload speed, and I should have done the capacity, but I guess I decided not to for whatever reason. I think because I've already done it enough. But yeah, shotgun firepower and TMP capacity, those are 2 things that are going to help in the upcoming fight, which I don't really know what I would call the next fight. Maybe the truck fight or the tractor fight. But anyway, you can see that the Regenerator is still actually in this room, but he's turned around. He won't bother you for the time being until you tell Ashley to wait. So tell her to wait by the switch. Do this little puzzle here. Open both switches, and you'll do it successfully, and you'll have plenty of enough time to get through that without having to deal with the Regenerator that I ran past. And now you can see this is what I was talking about. So there's this truck right here. It's a weird truck though, because you'll see there's kind of this like tractor attachment on the front of it, and you can see that it has these kind of tank-like wheels. So I don't really know what to call this vehicle. I'm just going to call it the truck fight because I'm a simpleton. But yeah, so what you're going to do here is Ashley, we're going to leave it to her because that's definitely a good thing to do. So she's going to drive this thing, and you're going to stand in the bed, and what you're going to want to do is take out the TMP. And this is very similar to the mine fight, the minecart fight back in like chapter 4-3. You're going to get rushed by a lot of enemies, and your goal here is to not get overwhelmed. So what you're going to do is shoot the enemies in the legs to get them to fall down. So you see here, legs, legs, legs. Just aim low, try to shoot them all in the legs. These enemies will actually die very quickly, quicker than most enemies. And you can see how I basically just killed all of those enemies. They weren't even able to get anywhere near the truck. And now you can see there's one enemy with a crossbow. He's kind of down and to the right, and he's about to jump on. But I was able to shoot him in midair before he jumped on. But here you see one of them gets on, and now 2 of them gets on. And so you can kind of see the similarities to the minecart fight. The whole goal of the game here is to overwhelm you. They just want to have a bunch of enemies jump onto this truck, and it very quickly overwhelms you. So the longer you can last by shooting all of the enemies with your TMP, the better. The longer you can keep any enemies off of the bed of this truck, the better. So as soon as I get a clearing, I'm going to once again take out that TMP. Here comes another truck. I'm going to shoot it a couple times just to ignite it in flames, and you'll see it doesn't take a lot. And the truck will be stalled for a couple seconds. So here comes the next little wave of enemies. Now, unfortunately, this is where it gets a little tricky because now some of the enemies are actually dropping down from the rafters above. So whenever that happens, you're going to take out that shotgun and just shoot them off the edge of the bed. I don't know how that missed. I call bullshit on that one. But go ahead and shoot him off. Now I'm going to switch back to my TMP. Oh, no, looks like I'll do a pistol. Shoot the truck a couple more times. You'll see that little explosion, and then the truck will crash just like that. And now it looks like there's only a couple enemies left to deal with, and we're going to come to this section here, and this kind of marks the the halfway point. So you can see that even though that section looked kind of stressful and overwhelming, it's all about crowd management. Use your TMP and you should be fine. And then anytime an enemy jumps onto the bed of the truck, just take that shotgun out and blow them off the edge. Now right here, you're going to, this part's kind of tricky, so pay attention. What you're going to want to do is you're going to climb up this ladder. So real quick, while you have the opportunity, make sure you reload all your weapons. And now check out what I do here. So I'm going to climb up this ladder, and then I am immediately going to turn around and jump back down. So immediately turn around, jump back down, you'll jump right past him, dodge that enemy there, and then just jump back into the bed of the truck here. And now we're just going to stand here. I'm going to stand pretty much in this exact location, and I'm just going to fight the enemies. Now this is another section where technically you could run past this, but it's very hard to do. One, because you have to worry about Leon, but two, the enemies will also try to kill Ashley, and that will result in an instant death. So instead what I recommend doing is actually just clearing out this room completely. Just stand in the bed of the truck, let all of the enemies come to you. You can see that they'll all kind of group together. That's the perfect opportunity to do one of these, you know, signature group shotgun blasts, maybe use an incendiary grenade. There's a lot of ways you can do this. But the most important thing, like I said, is just sit back and actually take the time to clear out all of the enemies in this section. I think it's a lot easier in the long run. And again, like I said, I've said this so many times in the walkthrough, but everything I do in this walkthrough, it has been pre-planned. You know, I sat back, I practiced every level, and I knew exactly what I was doing when I was doing it. And so that's why, you know, so many of the fights that we came across earlier in the game, you know, I kept running past them. I just ran past them and ran past them. And I always said the reason I was doing that was because I was saving ammunition. Specifically, I was saving ammunition for Chapter 5, because Chapter 5, it has so many of these areas where technically you could try to run past them, but it's kind of hard to do, and it's a lot easier to just stand your ground and fight. And so that's why, you know, this whole walkthrough I've been saying, hey, you know, the reason we're saving ammo is because it's really going to come in handy once we get to Chapter 5. So again, everything I've been doing has all been kind of according to the master plan. So hopefully if you guys are playing along, you've taken some of those things into consideration. But from what I can tell, I think most people are just watching this for entertainment purposes, which is completely fine. But you know, at the end of the day, it is a walkthrough. So my main intention with this series is to help people. But I do understand that you know, most people are just watching for entertainment. But yeah, the cool thing about doing a no damage walkthrough on the hardest difficulty is that it literally can help everyone. Like playing a game on the hardest difficulty can help people playing on the hardest difficulty. It could also help people playing on easier difficulties. And then the fact that it's a no damage walkthrough, in my opinion, that just is kind of how you can completely show mastery of a game. So a no damage walkthrough is meant to help everyone. It can help you in any situation, no matter what difficulty you're playing on. Or at least that was my intent with this walkthrough. I tried to make it as helpful as possible. Now what you're going to do here is keep your pistol out, aim forward, and you're going to see two enemies up on the rafter here, so make sure you take the time to kill them. Now once they're out of the picture, you can see a couple more enemies off in the distance, but you're going to want to turn around instead, because I don't think you can actually shoot them from here. And what you're going to do is take out the TMP, and once again we're going to use this to kind of do some crowd control. So you'll see this black door here, here come the enemies, and again, like I said, just aim low, try to shoot them in the legs, knock them down, don't get overwhelmed. But again, notice how enemies will just drop down automatically into the vehicle. And notice where I'm actually standing here. So I'm standing in the back right corner of the bed of this truck. In my opinion, that's the best place to stand, because it kind of gives you the best vantage point for when these enemies just drop down in front of you. But anyway, we are just, again, continuing with the same exact strategy here. We're almost done with this fight. It's a pretty long one. But again, just use that TMP for crowd control. Now right here, you'll see that we kind of hit a standstill. Once you hear the truck's horns, you're going to aim forward, and once again this pesky, or I guess it's a different truck, but this truck here is going to come ramming towards you. Just shoot it a couple times, ignite the flames, and it will crash, send our vehicle crashing into this wall, and that will be the end of the truck fight. So I actually really enjoy that fight, believe it or not. The first couple times I did it, I hated it. But, I don't know, something about it now, I actually really enjoy that fight. And I can't really put into words why I enjoy it, but I just think it's, I just think it's fun. I guess in the simplest way. I just think it's a fun fight. It's stressful, it's enjoyable, but at the same time, it's challenging, but it's not too hard to make you want to rip your hair out. So I don't know, over time I've really come to actually enjoy that fight. And that all kind of ties with what I talked about last level. Chapter 5 is awful. It's god-awful. But it's not all bad. There are some fun moments here and there. And in fact, one of my favorite moments is going to come in the next level. Not the Krauser boss fight, mind you. It's the It boss fight. That's one of my favorite moments of the game. It's actually my favorite boss of the game. But we'll get to that in the next level. Go ahead and enjoy this ending cutscene, and I will see you during the final sign-off of the video.
I can feel them growing ever so strongly inside you.
Sadler!
Perhaps you can resist, but you cannot disobey. Now, come to me, Ashley.
Ashley! It's already begun.
Alright guys, as always, I want to thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like and subscribe if you get the chance. And yeah, that was Chapter 5-2. Once again, like I said, just thank you so much for watching. I'm really glad you guys are enjoying this series. I'm really sad to say it's almost over, but I will see you in the next level.